Hello, Lisbon! Yes, dreams of being a rock star. Great to be here. Yes, I'm going to be talking about social video today, and there we are. Lots of tips, lots of things that I've learned, and it's going to be quite fast, so fasten your seatbelt. So for those of you who don't know me, yes, I'm an actor, writer, director. I've built up quite a large social following on Twitter in particular, although I think a lot of that is because people think I'm actually David Schwimmer from Friends. Here's an example here. Wouldn't have thought an ex-member of the cast of Friends would be so up on British politics. But I do lots of politics and lots of jokes. Here's one of my earliest jokes. When Lance Armstrong, I don't know if you remember the drugs cheat, came out and admitted he was a drugs cheat. I said, Lance Armstrong isn't even the worst offender in cycling history. Look at this guy. What the hell was he on? And added this picture here. And it's just, I'm going to come back to that and how I showed you that when I talk about video. So I also am a writer. I co-wrote The Death of Stalin, the film, and a lot of what I've learned from writing films, I've applied to social video through my social media company called That Lot. We do a lot of social video. And also writing, working on social, I've learned, I've used things that, for writing films. So I don't know if anyone wants to write a film, but some of this stuff will be useful, I hope, if you do want to do that. But why should you be on social? Why should you be making videos? Well, that's very clear. There's 500 people watching videos on Facebook every day. This is a few months old, this stat, so probably even more. 500 million people, that's the same number of people who attended Donald Trump's presidential inauguration, according to Donald Trump. Just to give you a bit of context there. So it's video, really important on Facebook. It's huge on Instagram stories, 400 million users. Really, really effective, we're finding in my social media company, for engagement and driving business conversion. You can see the stats there. And 40% of content on Instagram stories is video. So you have to be really, really up on video there. One of our clients is Channel 4, which is a UK broadcaster. All we do is churn out video on those for Channel 4 and E4, a smaller company. So you can see very good stats there, 6.2 billion organic views 2017, and we're expecting the same this year. And also E4 is, I've just heard this morning, is actually, we're now the biggest broadcaster on Facebook on the planet. I mean, there may be bigger broadcasters on other planets, I don't know, but on this planet, we're the biggest. And so a lot of what we've learned about making social video is what I'll be showing you today. So
what's important?
So first up, some basic things for organic video on Facebook. So here we are. This is a Channel 4 video, Feminism for 5-year-olds, from a Channel 4 show, Secret Life of 5-year-olds. So I'll just play a little bit of that.
What's important for girls when they grow up?
To go to work, adults, definitely.
Out on the grass, Eva is teaching Jude some karate moves to shake up his idea of what little girls are really made of.
Why can't girls be scientists?
Because they make silly potions. I extracted the DNA from a banana once.
So that's an example of what the sort of thing that we make and that does very well for us all the time. What's clear, and you probably know this, you have to have a very strong opening. So often with a face plays very strong. You make a human face there, a strong opening. Sound versus on versus off. Facebook say, and we think they're right, so you design for sound off, but delight for sound on. So add a little bit of value for those people who are actually listening to it, but most people are watching with sound off. And then you have to get your branding in earlier. So in our case, it's the name of the show, but within the first few seconds, 3 or 4 seconds, you have to get early branding. And that's where you start to see that there's a difference between what you can do in a film, a movie, where you've captured people, they've come towards you. So here's one of my favorite movie openings, which wouldn't work at all on social media, from Shaun of the Dead.
Now stoners, please.
So this is the opening of the film. See, if this was on social, you'd be scrolling on by now.
Shaun. Yeah.
but it's a really nice opening for a film. It says a lot about his character. It doesn't work on social, whereas this one would work on social, from Train Spotting.
Choose life, choose a job, choose a career, choose a family.
So that would work. It's instant, it's exciting. You would want to have the brand message up front, which I guess in this case might be heroin. I don't know. Whatever the brand, I haven't thought that through. Whatever the brand message would be, you'd subtitle it, it would be in square, but basically it's instant impact. And so that works well on social. So if we get back to our social checklist and our bullet points, how it's served makes a real difference. For me, it's partially the copy and it's partially the letterboxing there. When we say feminism for 5-year-olds, instantly that writing, that copy, don't worry about the video, it grabs you in. So don't only think about the video, don't spend £30,000 or dollars, euros on a video and then neglect how you set it up. For me, the copy is like when you throw up when you're serving in tennis. If that isn't right, then it doesn't matter how good your serve is, the video, it won't be perfect. So make sure that you serve it properly. Length is another thing. You'll be told that it's got to be shorter and shorter, and I think that's, to a certain extent, as a general rule, the shorter the better is right. Here's a really nice ad from Heineken, which is just 6 seconds long for the Champions League. I really like that. It tells the story, it's interesting, it's got lots of little jokes, even in 6 seconds. So it's more and more we're finding it's about telling that story in a shorter time. But we have put 9-minute videos out on Facebook, and they've still done really, really well. So it depends on, ultimately, the quality of your content, I would say. So as long as it's relatable human content, that's the main thing that you want to achieve. Platform specificity, that is the essence of success. You want all your videos to look like they belong on the platform rather than adapting a 16:9 YouTube and trying to chop it up. We always film and edit for the platforms. Here's one from Coachella on Instagram Stories, which I really like because they've taken obviously a 16:9 video and made it feel native for the platform. It's about sign language interpreter. So just play a bit of that.
I get paid to play with music and talk. That's the best job ever.
So it's got a great strong start. You can feel how it adds something if you're watching it with sound on, or the music and everything, and that sort of splitting it into 3 has worked really nicely, I think. So you want, again, a strong opening on Instagram. You want to push to tap through. I posted something from last night's partying on my own Instagram yesterday, which if you go to it, David Schneider UK, you'll see is actually bad. It's a 14-second long video where nothing happens that's different in the last 7 seconds. That was bad of me, but you know, it was last night. Things happen. But you want to push to the tap through, so keep people watching. Only have it to be as long as it needs to be so that people tap and go to the next part of the story. And the other thing about Instagram Stories is that 60% of them are watched with sound on. So sometimes we do not subtitle on Instagram Stories. It's very sort of personal to each piece of content, whether it works. We just plonk on sound on where we think, a little icon saying sound on where we think that's more appropriate. And going native, as I said, platform specificity, so important. We did a thing for Channel 4 where they had a show which was called Ackley Bridge, set in a school. They wanted us to do Snapchat drama that complemented it. And it had the drama that we did, it had 98% view through because it looked like everything else on the platform. I'll show you an example. These are with 2 of the characters, one of the lead characters, a schoolgirl, and her nan on Snapchat.
Right. And then is that
What? It's not working.
Ooh, yellow can then
So you can see that, that's a terrible place to pause it, but you could see exactly how that feels very native to Snapchat, and all the dramatic moments we did felt native to Snapchat. So be native, that's the top tip there. Love this from Nike about trying to get people to swipe up with this big guy trying to lift lift a weight. It's just playing with the format and making people feel that they're native to the platform. Whilst we're on that, so 7 out of 10 campaigns that run in vertical have better ad recall. I think it's all going to be about vertical now. We're now going on shoots where we have a crew, but we're filming in vertical. Here's a great vertical ad that the BBC did for a show called Bodyguard. And it really is playing with that whole, you don't have to turn your phone. You can, it fills the whole screen. The pacing of it is interesting. It keeps changing. So I really like that. And so vertical, you should think vertical all the time. But again, at core, it's relatability, because what it's all about is story. And stories have to be human stories. Even if they're not about humans, they have to be relatable to, because trust me, again, we don't know what's happening on other planets, but it will be a human watching the story, so it has to be relatable. That's why content like this, my grandpa went to get his passport's photos done, but pressed the wrong button. They do so well. It's just a human story in that image, in that tweet that you relate to. So, going to very quickly go through some tips now on how to get that element of success in whether it's a film or whether it's a social video. The first thing is, what is your elevator pitch? So the elevator pitch is the one sentence that when you're in the elevator with the studio producer, mogul, the person who runs the studio, you tell him what your movie is. So whether you're doing a 6-second video or a feature film, what's the elevator pitch? This is my favorite elevator pitch, The Wizard of Oz. Transported to a surreal landscape, a young girl kills the first person she meets, then teams up with 3 strangers to kill again. Slightly unusual selling of it, but there is an elevator pitch. So know, even if it's 6 seconds, know what your elevator pitch is. And then there's the obvious things that you have to check in before you do anything. What are the KPIs? Who is the demographic? No point making Friday the 13th for children. And above all, who's your tone of voice? What is your tone of voice before you do anything? So which one of these people are you? You probably don't know. There's a very Cockney British actor there called Ray Winston, but you have to know your tone of voice before you can do anything and make any video. Okay, so that's the overall, the elevator pitch, and I'm now going to break it down more into scenes. This is a quote from Woody Allen, if you'll forgive me still quoting Woody Allen. Relationships are like a shark. They have to keep moving forward or they die, and what we have here is a dead shark. And that's exactly the same with storytelling in video and film. You have to keep it moving all the time, especially on social. As soon as you hesitate and stop, it's dead. No one's interested. So that's why it's good to see a story not as a linear thing that just carries on, but you have to see it going up steps, leading somewhere, developing, going higher. So every step of the way, you're pushing further and further. I'm going to share this thing that we did with Channel 4 for Christmas and office parties. Very simple, a series of gifts. It did do well for us, but I hope, I can certainly see the moment where I stop moving forward. And so I'm going to show you this, even though it makes me cringe a little bit. It's all about getting drunk at your Christmas office do. So what I don't like about that is that till about 2 o'clock, it's really fun, and the guy staggers into the lamppost. That's good. It's all funny. It's all shareable. And then it sort of just carries on being on the same level. It doesn't develop. And if I were to make it again, then I would put twists in it to keep it moving. Not got time for Obama, which is a shame given the circumstances. No one has time for Obama nowadays. Very sad. Because I want to talk about beats and how I break anything down, whether I'm writing a movie, a scene in a movie, or elements of a scene, or a social video. I break it down into beats. So beats are the unit of storytelling. So you have something happens, and then when something changes, that's the second beat. And it's a really good discipline to talk to yourself always about the beats. when you look at a beat, you have to say, have I moved the story on? Can I move the story on quicker? Can I be quicker? And also, this is a film writing thing that I apply to social media. Can I come in later in the scene or end the scene sooner? Because often with film writing, you realize that, well, I've written this scene that's 3 pages long, but actually I could come in later. I don't need all that waffle at the start. And actually I can end sooner. And it's the same with social video. So make sure the beat is as quick and simple as possible. Let me talk you through some beats here. Obviously, I don't have time to show you the whole scene from Star Wars where Darth Vader and Luke duel, but if you go and watch it, it's a really beautiful example of how things are written down in beats. So they fight, then Luke starts to lose. Oh no, I'm losing. He drops to the floor. Then Luke comes back. Yes! So that's a new beat. So you're still engaged. Then Luke loses a hand. This is bad news. So it's building all the time, and it's really quick, all these beats. And then Darth Vader says, join me, join me. So there's a chat, they're talking. So we've moved on from fighting to talking. And then there's the I am your father reveal. So it's really moved on. And then there's the no. So have a look at that for how you map beats out. Again, that was from a film. Again, this is great. Just if you look at this video, there are 4 beats here. They're watching TV. The visitor arrives. They hand him the beer. That's the branding. And they even squeeze in that extra gag at the end of the photo dropping. They've been so rigorous about their beats, which I really, really like. And so I've broken it down from the elevator pitch to the whole film, then to the scenes, to the beats, and now I want to talk about storytelling within the individual frame, because especially in social video, if you break it right down to the frame, that is where you start to have success. So if you look at how a frame of video, a picture is composed, you want it to tell the clearest story. So, for instance, this painting by Munch, The Scream, you can see how everything points, even the balustrade there, everything points to what he wants to say, which is the guy screaming. That's how you have to compose each frame of every video. So here's one of my favorite pictures from the internet ever, which is the dog that looks like Samuel L. Jackson. There he is. And that works because there is a chair, but basically there is bang. You just see it. If it was like this, even though there's other jokes around it, 2 + 2 = 4, it's just not as effective. And that's how you have to compose your shots. And sometimes now we shoot in 4K, so we are able to move shots around, move the center around when we edit. Here's an example, just a thing from travel supermarkets. So we were doing tips. We were doing tips on traveling. So for instance, roll, don't fold. And then we had that little joke there, saving space when packing. But thinking about it, you can see it clearly here, but on a mobile, you need to make it clear what the story of that individual frame is. And that individual frame story is the book, that's the joke, so you need to come closer in on the joke. So I'll just skip through the real deal there. And then finally, it's all about control. When I did my gag earlier about Lance Armstrong, I could have presented the gag like this, where you have the picture already, but I need to control your eyes. So what I did was I did the setup first, and then I do the reveal. And that is the secret of putting good videos together. It's thinking about how you control how people see it. So this is more an image that we turned into a video from National Geographic, but we're telling a story. We're teasing. Is that an iceberg? No, it's a plastic bag. And so this is simply their cover that we put together. We broke down and put together. And we control exactly what's going on, what you're looking at. But basically, I'm going to leave you with this one of my favorite videos of all time, and it's a Vine, and it just goes to show that the simplicity is best. It's stripped down to a setup and a punch. So this is called Duck Army. Here we are. So really, for me, that is the essence of great, certainly comedy video, as simple, stripped down as possible. And that, I'd just like to thank you very much for listening. Sorry it's been so quick, but obrigado!